Yeah, boy. It's your man Killah B, the goddamn Witchfinder General. You got a witch? I'll burn your ass up. God damn it, I'm back.
So you came to come the devil. This energy is to be the devil. So you came to come the devil and fight that devil because that's his nature. He is. This energy is to be the devil. So you came to come the devil and fight that devil because that's his nature. That's his energy. So you got to become God. You have energy too. You have energy too.
Join the battle. Like, share, and subscribe to your boy Killah B. That's right. Got this track by Chose Willinson. Check him out on YouTube and Facebook. Shout out to the TK Mafia, the True Mafia. Got Trey Tell. Goddamn Chris Harris. Goddamn it. Lamont. Admiral Shamiyan. Josh. My boy Malachi. Shutting them down, god damn it. We shutting them down. All you false prophets, we coming for your ass. Best believe that. We've been seeing a lot of crazy stuff going on in that community. We got these damn cult leaders raping women. Come on, man. Fuck that. But have no fear, because Killah B, the goddamn Witchfinder General, is here to burn all y'all motherfuckers up. We got an ill show for y'all right now. We got that part 2. Making of the nganga. Talk about our history was a race. Our history wasn't a race. They still using it right now. Our religion wasn't a race.
Bottom line, you are Christ. Christ is talking about your soul. Melanin. Oil.
Come on now, walk with me. Walk with me now, walk with me. Killah B, hit the goddamn like button. Wipe your goddamn foot before you come up in my house with all that bullshit. And hit that goddamn like, share, and subscribe. Hit that goddamn like, share, and subscribe. Killah B, the Witchfinder General. I'm gonna try to get this video over y'all. I might have a goddamn triple header after that. After this, you know how I get in. Y'all know what them next videos is gonna be about. That old fool. The joke is on you. If y'all still follow Judah Nazareth, the joke is on you. As we seen in this last video, a couple of videos ago, that he took down. We see the craziness with this guy. But we can say that for another video. We can get Chris Harris on here. We can try to get Chris Harris on here later. Whoever else. Maybe Admiral Shamiyan might make a little appearance and said try him in today. But yeah, I want to get straight into this. Finish reading y'all this article here. Well, from this journal here. So, yeah, today's lesson is part 2. Your ancestors, the nganga, and the Palo Mayombe religion. This part 2 is going to be talking about the making of the nganga. I've been doing some more research on this subject. And as you can see here in the picture here, this is what you would call a nganga. In the Congo, the nganga wasn't the actual, wasn't a cauldron or pot used to house a spirit. The nganga was the actual doctor, what you would call your healer, your witch doctor, your priest, or what's what herbalist, however you want to put it. It wasn't until the religion reached Cuba that that language was changed a little bit, and now it's known as the actual cauldron or the pot that was used. Um, in the Congo region, I've also learned it. By the way, I don't practice this religion. I've been studying it for a little while. I actually have made friends with a Polero out here in my area, and he's been giving me some little info here and there, telling me a little bit about it. But he's actually from Cuba. Uh, so yeah, he's been giving me some good information. Shout out to him. Um, it seems that this cauldron was not used in Africa, but it was a different type of thing, what they would use. Here in, I guess, the Americas, Cubas and stuff, a pot is used, or a cauldron is used to house the spirit, and these things, as we're going to learn today, the things that are put inside. As you can see here, there's a bunch of sticks. You see a skull in there. You get some animal parts, horns, animal horns. There's all types of minerals and stuff that make up this nganga. What I come to find out in the Congo is that other things were used, like gourds, and also like in bags. Instead of having a pot, these things were hung up in the village, like I guess from a tree, as you could say, or they also, the main thing that they used was something that was called a nikisi, which I plan on doing a video. Maybe I'm not gonna promise today, but in the near future. The nikisi is a statue um, that is sculpted, and they have different names for it. One of the more popular names for it is the Kisi. Let me switch screens here. Is the Nikisi Nakandi, if I'm pronouncing that right, which means the hunter. So this statue was used for healing, and it was used for legal contracts, and this, like your other everyday contracts, agreements, pacts, and stuff like that that you would make with other people in your village or with the village. And the Kisi would house the energy, the power, to heal people, to make people sick for not completing their obligation. Um, the image, I mean, I'm sorry, I need to find the image of it. I don't really. Let me see here. I find the image real quick for you. Nikisi. See if I can get it in here for you real quick. Right. This is a good image right here. As we can see, get this image here for y'all real quick. Okay. See if we can get this up in here for you real quick. Oops. Okay, image. New one. Alright, here we go. You see here, this is what you would call a Nikisi. And as you see here, there's a bunch of nails driven into this statue or figure. This the sources say the nails in the Nikisi didn't come about into, I guess, the late early 1900s. As far as I guess you could say archaeologists or scientists have acquired these figures. As you can see here, there's a square, a little box on his chest. Within that will be powders of different herbs, animal remains, whatever have you, that they would put inside to activate this figure. Sometimes it will be put in the top of the head, or even both. And there would be a mirror, as you can see here, this little box, a little square. I don't know if the mirror fell out, or maybe that is the mirror, this little foggy or whatever. Usually there's a mirror or something that causes, that shows a reflection. And that will be used for divination. As I guess you would say in the Western term, scrying. When you would look into a dark mirror or a dark piece of glass, and you would see, shit, damn it, excuse me, you would see the people that are trying to attack you, spiritually attack you, or whatever the issue is. The nganga, which is the priest, the doctor, or whatever, will be able to see the issues and stuff by scrying through the mirror that you would have here. So, what those nails were driven in there for was to show to finalize the agreement. So let's say that we have a legal agreement, say for this in modern terms now. We're going into business together and we're drawing up a legal contract. That contract will be finalized with the Nikisi, Nakandi. As I don't know if maybe I can blow this thing up here. Let's see something quick. If I can see it. No, it's not that great of an image to be able to see it. But usually the Kandi will have a hand raised, and in that hand they would put like iron spikes, maybe an axe, a knife. What would show the aggression of this figure. If you don't complete your obligation, this thing, you have agreed for this power, this energy, this spirit encased into the Nikisi to attack you. So if you didn't take care of your obligation, this thing will come hunt you and kill you, make you very sick, or what have you, and then you have to go back to this doctor, witch doctor, leader, or priest, or whatever, and you have to work things out. So, put back on here. So yeah, I've been studying a lot on this stuff. But I'm very interested on the transition of the Congo religion and how it's been turned into Palo Mayombe, Palo Monte, and stuff like that. I gotta put this here. I would like to see the transition from, like how you say these things are done in pots. A lot of times too, these figures weren't in individual houses, but there were a nganga pot for a village or for a slave plantation. They wouldn't be like a bunch of Africans with a nganga pot, with their own pots. What they would have one pot. and that pot would be for the village, or the slave plantation. Let's say like in Cuba, where most of these Congolese slaves were brought to, and where the most concentrated um, parts of the religion are in the Cuba, and we're in the island of Cuba. Um, Cuba at one point had banned this religion. Um, Within recently, well, a little more than recently, it has been looked over and people are allowed to practice out in the open and not be afraid or persecuted or something like that. But yeah, we're going to get into this reading. Yeah, I think that guy's holding an axe in that image. If I can see, you can't really tell. There's so many darn nails in there. But yeah, let me get right into this thing here. Killah B, the Witchfinder General. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. And wipe your damn feet before you come up to my house with that bullshit. All right. See here where we left off was the making a nganga. Elamonte, whatever that means. I have no idea. Maybe I can look it up and tell me. Hold on. Okay, it's in Spanish. Okay, you guys can figure it out on your own time. So let's get started here. Yeah, when we left off and stuff, we talked a little bit about the religion, and we showed some images of Nagangas, how these things were come about, like what they consist of, like the bones, sticks, machetes, and all these things. They make up a house, basically, or a universe for the spirit that is brought into the pot. First, there has to be an agreement made with the spirit that you're taking. Another thing also about Palo Mayombe that's interesting, how the use of other human remains are used in the pot. And from my research that I've seen so far, I don't know if anyone out there that's into that practice this religion or Polero, if you're allowed to please comment below and enlighten us on this. If anything, like I said, I don't practice it. I'm just trying to get this information out to the people that have been brainwashed in these other cults and stuff out there. And I'm sure there are probably some cults in this religion also. But I want to get to the pure essence of this spiritual system. And this show people that we had a religion and that this religion is still alive today in the Americas. If we want to find it, it's right there. And what I see mostly is that there's people of other shades. There are black people of other shades. Some of these people could be Portuguese. They could be Spanish of descent or whatever. But in these countries, Brazil, Cuba, Salvador, Mexico, wherever, they are practicing these religions that are African based. And a lot of these people will be looked at as Caucasian. And these people are practicing an African religion using African language, sometimes along with Spanish and Portuguese and things like that, of their the land of their captivity language is mixed in. But the African language has been saved and has been brought and preserved in the Americas, straight from Africa, from across the Atlantic, the transatlantic slave trade. Okay. let me just get right into this. I'm gonna find my point here. Where I leave off. Make sure you guys check out part 1 too. Okay, let's get this thing started. This is the making of the nganga. Show my head straight here. All right. Each nganga is unique. While they all share many elements, such as the type of tree sticks they contain, their composition varies considerably, depending on the owner's opinions. The identity of the mufumbi they host, which is the spirit, or the use of which they are destined, each nganga has a name of its own, which distinguishes it from others. This uniqueness is much more than a logical consequence of a complex collection of material elements. It is desired and actively sought after by the Paleros because it enhances the object's power. However, it is also what makes it vulnerable to other wizards' attacks. An enemy who knows the exact composition of a nganga could manipulate it and perhaps even cause its owner's demise. In these circumstances, it is understandable that absolute secrecy surrounds the production of this god object. Let's see, I'll zoom in here a little bit. The Palero distinguishes approximately 10 types of Nagangas. According to the deity, the Mupungo they host, a Nganga may not include them. And in that case, it is considered evil or a witch. And it is called Nadoki. The following description depicts the making of a Nganga called Sarabanda. The Nadoki actually means hunter. As I was saying before, under the Nikisi, they would call it, that was the name, the Nikisi Nadoki. I don't know if the N's pronounced or not. Or Doki, Nikisi Doki, or Nikisi Nadoki. However, the following description depicts the making of a Nganga called Sarabanda. Sarabanda is the Mupungo of metals and war. So there would be different types of Nganga pots for they have different names and have different uses. And it's the Mupungo of metals and war. It is widespread among practitioners. The Palero considers it one of the most representative of the religion because like its Mapungo, it embodies its core values ostentatiously, masculinity, fighting spirit, and strength. The description of the process through which it is made is based on my personal observations, on my informant's description, and on an ethnographic film by Jean-Luc Chevin, Functions of the Nganga Citerials. Functions de una Nganga Citerials. I heard that before. I don't really know what Citerials means. 87, Paris, 1997. As well as on the description of Cuban ethnologist Linda Cabrera. I'm on a hunt for a couple of her books. I heard she has some really good books on this subject. Note that the right to attend the making of a Nganga is reserved only to initiates who themselves own the Nganga. It is best to people of absolute trust. at best to people of absolute trust. I was able to attend this secret process thanks to a long-standing friendship with a Polero who assembled it. However, many elements were concealed from me. Despite despite its chaotic appearance, the Sarabanda Nganga, like any other for that matter, is structured according to a strict principle of vertically. It has three deliberately separate levels: the bottom, the heart, and the top. This is this person is writing this article's terms, saying that there's three sections that consist in the Nganga. Excuse me, my reading's a little off. I just woke up. I'm a little tired. This distinction is first of all marked physically. The bottom is covered with wax, while the heart is covered with an opaque mixture of liquids and earth. The Poleros, which is the priest, also distinguish the first level verbally, calling it the fondo canasta, meaning the bottom of the basket, or the fundamental, or the meaning the foundation. The separation of these three levels indicate that the material constitution presents structural differences as regards the nature, layout, and function of their components. Right? The bottom. The bottom, the core identity of the cauldron. Okay, now we're going to get into it. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, you can leave them in the comments or the chat or the live chat, and I'll do another show and try to find out the answers if I don't know them and address it on the next show. The following description takes into account the order in which each element is inserted into the cauldron. First, the Polero traces a ritual drawing, the firma. Let me show you guys the firma real quick. Alright. Maybe I can just do this a little easier. Killah B, the Witchfinder General. God damn it, like, share, and subscribe. Alright. Let's see here. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, excuse me. So let me just get this thing here for you guys. Capture, window capture. Alright, there we go. Alright. Okay, where is it? There we go. Alrighty. Alright, see here. These are the firmas, or what you call, they also call papi pembas, if I pronounce it that right. What basically is a direction, from my understanding, it's like a direction or a instructions for the spirit that's in house in the nganga. And it's also used in their rituals and stuff. say like spells or whatever, giving instructions to the spirit what's to do. This is basically like a language for the spirit to understand. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay. First, the Polero traces a ritual drawing the firma. This geometric and sometimes figurative design is of variable form, consists mainly of circles, arrows, crosses, and lines. It is drawn on this side of the screen here. It is drawn with white chalk for beneficial operations, or with coal for works of destructive nature, and it guarantees the efficiency of ritual activity. There is a plethora of farmers to represent the Mufumbi of the sanctuary, the Mapungos, and the Ndokis, the evil spirits and witches. For each operation, for each work of magic, for each ceremony, and for each consultation, the sign corresponding to the spiritual entity being summoned must be drawn, as noted by T. Diaz Fabella. The Polero believes very seriously that each drawing has power over the idea it represents. For example, by plotting the firma representing the Mapungo Mamachola, the Polero involves the latter in solving love problems, but he can also destroy a foreign nganga by tracing the sign that represents it. Even when each drawing has the name of a specific entity, a Mapungo for instance, it can also include symbols of other elements with power, or a soul. With firmas, the Poleros are thus able to mobilize agents that are not present in their sanctuaries, in their works, and rituals. Mapungos, wandering spirits, thunder, the moon, the stars, etc. These ritual signs, more than just identity markers, have the power to make connections between the different elements they represent. For example, when thunder and the Mapungos are drawn in the same sign, the two entities are obliged to work together in order to accomplish the particular task. Like the figures of European magic, from which they are largely inspired, firmas are sometimes a spatial representation of a magical operation, sometimes a diagram of ritual action. In fact, these drawings direct the action of humans and non-human agents participating in the ritual. Had a firma on the page the whole time. As you can see here. Now, for all you Judah Nazarites, your so-called wannabe Torahdites, if any of you guys remember this, I'm going to bring this up later in another video. You see this face here with the four directions? I'm going to show you what Judah Nazar has been dabbling with. Alright, but that's for another show. For all you people that don't know what I'm talking about, if you go watch some of my older videos, there was a cult leader that was trying to manipulate, cast spells and stuff on his members that found out his false prophecies and his fake teachings that he said that the God himself brought to him and gave him to share with the people. We'll see about that. But anyway, let's get back into this. What we got here? Participating in the ritual in a very concrete way. Moreover, these drawings can also represent the actions themselves. The arrows adorning them are signs of movement and direction. When, for example, in a sanctuary, there is a firmer with the main arrow pointing to the exit door. We know that an evil spirit is probably being warded off. The arrow is directing it away from the victim in the sanctuary hosting. And as executive signs, these ritual drawings are often sketched in places that indicate a direction, such as doors and windows. The Polero acknowledging the directional function of the firma, say that the one that is drawn at the bottom of the nganga largely defines its path. That is to say, its tendencies and the way it works. But the path of the nganga is also built materially by the Poleros. Unlike Afro-Cuban Santeria, where the path or caminos of the Orishas, its deities are mythological productions that represent different stages of the deity's life on Earth. Pedro, the practitioner of Kin Fu Cien Fuegos, summoned this up eloquently. Many Ngangas are called Sarabanda, but there is Sarabanda Kuye, Sarabanda Palo Mayombe, Tenga Yaya, Viramundo, because, for example, your name is Katerina, or Katrina. Now I, by inserting into the cauldron the remains of a black cat, I can give you an energy, bad Katerina. They are called Sarabanda. They have the same roots, but they may not contain the same elements. We don't insert the same components. One is blonde, the other is black. They're all alike, but they're all different. Some Poleros say that there are many paths as there are prendas. Another form for Nganga is called a prenda. Because they result of a unique combination of firmas. The other material elements, the singularity of each God object is therefore built from its very foundation. Though an eminently technical process of bricolage, I can't pronounce that word, bricolage, or a makeshift composition. For a Sarabanda Nganga, the firma takes sometimes the form of a circle crossed by two perpendicular lines that intersect in the center and divide the circles into four equal parts. Each of the ends of the lines sports an arrow pointing to one of the four cardinal points. A silver coin is fixed with wax to each end, as well as to the center of the firma. At the same place, gunpowder, the fula of Congo, is added and ignited in order to activate its power. To complete the process of making the bottle, the Polero writes the name and surname of a Lufumbi it contains on a piece of paper, and he carefully folds it. If by any chance the wizard cannot write, he speaks out the name and surname of the dead man. The last element that is inserted in the bottom is named Secreto della Nganga, the secret of the Nganga. For Polero Pepe, for example, the secreto came in the shape of a turtle, whose abdomen was filled with various elements. Before being carefully stitched, the bottom is usually completed by covering all its components with an opaque material, such as wax, earth taken from an anthill, or a layer of ash in order to separate it from the elements added thereof. Compared to other levels of the Nganga, overflowing with materiality, the bottom of the Nganga does not have the same thickness. The material composing it are poorer in both volume and matter. Their sparse layout composes a very patchy surface with many gaps. In striking contrast with the density and compact nature of the other levels, this is due to the specific character of the bottom components, which seem to be the core identity of the cauldron, or the pot. The folded paper reveals the Mafumbi's identity, the spirits, which means the spirit's identity, endowing the nganga with a past, with feelings, and with personality. The firmer reveals the identity of the Mapungo, which is supposed to protect the cauldron. The Mapungo influences both the tendencies of the god object. Sarabanda endows the cauldron with his warrior character, while Kobayande, the Mapungo of illness and health, offers his exceptional healing skills. It is intellectual development. The Mapungos are perceived as African deities and teach the nganga to speak their native language. La Lengua, example, Palo Mayombe's ritual language, as well as all the secrets of the Congo. The original Paleros, the symbol of the coin fixed to the middle of the firma, provides information about the identity of the temple in which the initiate belongs. For Jorge's sanctuary, for instance, the protective entity was Mayombe, the Cuban vulture, which serves as a messenger between human and the supreme God. I want to stop real quick and talk about that. I was talking to some guy. It might have been Shamiam or Chris Harris one day outside, and there was this huge vulture just like blocked the sun and everything. It just like went over me. So I went home and I looked up about. I forgot the name of the voodoo or the Orisha, or what you call it, the Yoruba deity that represents a vulture. If anyone knows, you can put it in the chat or the comments. I forgot the name of it. But it says some interesting things about the vulture. Most people look at vultures as like this nasty like creatures and stuff that eat dead bodies and stuff. But they also serve a very good purpose for other animals. This has been known that vultures will tell other animals and other birds where food is. They would literally go and get the other birds and be like, "Hey, come with me. This food is over here." That's a little side note and stuff. You guys could look it up. As you can see here, it says that the vulture, which serves as a messenger between human and the supreme god. Nasambi, which like many African gods, is too abstract and distant to raise the worshipper's interest and influence their practice. In order to symbolize Mayombe and his cauldron, in the absence of other options, the Plero fixed a U.S. coin with the American eagle upon it upon the foundational firma. And it is not merely a symbol. The presence of the element representing the Mayombe will influence the nganga's behavior as much as the other components. The cauldron will, for instance, take revenge on his enemies by making them vomit like this scavenger. You see the symbolism that they put into all of this. As we go along, you're going to see more symbolism and stuff. The Secreto de la Nganga marks the cauldron's identity with the animal's characteristics. In the case of Pepe, who inserted a turtle, there will be a ritual possession in which the medium hosting the Mafumbi of the Nganga imitates the movements of the turtle in its ferocious bites. when I get a little tired, I'm gonna show you guys a video. Actually, let's get into this video right now while I got it on my mind. Let's get this video here. All right. All right, I'll show you these guys. Let's get here real quick. This out of the way. I should have showed this at the very beginning. I totally forgot. We can get right to it. All right. This is a Palo Mayombe initiation. At the end, I guess this guy, he receives his nganga pot. As you can see here. All right, let me make this a little different here. Sorry about that. This image. All right.
Jacinto is a member of the Ahuaca Secret Society and today is undergoing an initiation ceremony in the Palo Mayombe, Cuban black magic.
See that?
The essential difference between the Regla de Ocha and El Palo is that here they work with the dead instead of with the saints.
You see, he was drawing the firma at the bottom of the pot. This is your culture, people. No matter how bad you want to fight it, this is what you were doing before you came to the Americas, and some of you while you were in the Americas. Still,
This religion is based on the Palo Mayombe, the pots where they catch the dead in order to use them in rituals. If the offering has crosses, it is to do good. If it does not have any, it is for black magic. It will be covered with black cloths and will be called prenda judía, or Jewish offering.
you notice what they call the evil nganga. The nganga that's used for bad is called Jewish.
They use sticks from different woods, stones, human bones, tools, coconuts, and a dead man's skull. Once they have finished preparing the prenda, the Jacinto is led to the altar.
And as you can see here, there's people of all different colors.
The songs announce the action they are performing. They are clear and repetitive in order to guide the prenda and so guarantee that the ceremony is successful. Jacinto is subjected to arduous tests. With his eyes blindfolded and without knowing which new trial he will be forced to undergo, he starts to get upset.
This is what it's called scratching. When you're initiated into the Palo tradition, they do what they call scratching. The ritual is actually marks that are cut into your body, showing that you have been initiated.
The member of the society knows in advance what will happen in the
You see here with the blade
ceremony. They only know that it is hard and that not all of them can endure it to the end.
And what this does too is it's a test. Also, where I've heard another person that was into Palo, and that their initiation, I believe it was Palo, they were buried in the ground to just their head, and then snakes was applied all around his head. It was more of a thing for fear to see if you're fearful, I guess, or if you're able to handle these magical workings and stuff of this religion. Because I guess there's certain things and stuff that might frighten a person, or um, to be able to handle the situation that goes in with this spiritual system. Let's put it like that.
He soon feels faint. His knees are stiff and tremble with excitement. He needs a rest. The uncertainty makes him lose control of his nerves. His fellows encourage him, but they urge him to stand firm, saying, "This is a sacrifice, but you must suffer for the prenda." The officiant scratches him. With a knife, he carves into his skin the identifying marks of the 7 rays, the spirits and gold for the worshippers of the Regla de Ocho. The candidate is exhausted, but the worst is over. Now he only has to receive blessings.
And this is a long ceremony. I believe this lasts all day. So this guy is blindfolded for a large amount of time. These things that are done to him that he has no idea what they're doing while he's blindfolded, it can take a heavy toll on your body and on your mind. And I guess his rituals to prove your strength. You see a lot of this stuff, type of things too, in Masonic initiations.
After 5 hours in the blindfold, I think those eyes have to get used to the light again.
See, 5 hours in the blindfold. The officiant instructs him to stick out his tongue, pressing a lighted candle to his mouth, while repeating the principles of the religion. It will give him strength, light, agility, and stability. Once the initiation is over, the prendas Mayombe must be fed, so a goat and 2 hens are sacrificed. Their blood will satisfy the appetite of the dead, who will help the newly initiated member to find the way of Palo Mayombe. Drink from the goat's head. Like you see there, they're drinking from a goat's head. Some of y'all are like, ew! This is what we did.
Take it as if it were ours, and allow us to go on living. The Regla de Ocho worshippers also worship Olom, the sea siren that lives in the depths. They make offerings of fruit and flowers and ask her to accept the actions on which they...
That's it on that. Right. Alrighty. Back in here. Okay, where was I? Alright. I know where I'm at. Okay. The bottom of the nganga contains the cauldron's most sensitive elements, and therefore during the construction of this level, that the Palero's usual tendency to secrecy is most intense. Here, excuse me for 1 second. Sorry about that, people. Just gotta send these important messages out here. I've been busy. That's why I've been gone. I've been super busy and stuff. Let's have to send these messages out. Unbelievable. Always something. As soon as I start making a video. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry about that, people. Let's continue this here. Knock this thing here out. Okay, the firmament. Nope. And in this, therefore, during the construction of his level, that the Palero's usual tendency to secrecy is most intense. Here, every gesture is performed in the spirit of concealment. The firmament is drawn and then immediately rinsed out with water. The Mafumbi name is marked on a piece of paper, but then folded carefully. A dead animal stuffed with many elements is inserted. Remember that turtle, right? The guy had the turtle and stuff, and he had many elements inside the turtle. But stitched with great care. And finally, everything is covered with ash or wax in order to make this compartment of the nganga perfectly opaque. Now, we're going to go into the middle level. The middle level, limbs with which to act, senses which to feel. The middle level, the heart of the nganga, is distinguished from the bottom by its essence, but also by its function. One could, in the terminology of Thompson, describe its components as spirit embodying. That is to say, as elements containing the power directed by the bottom. They then take action and give the cauldron the ability to operate. In this compartment of the prenda, first a dog's head is inserted. Yep, it's a dog's head. Is preferably a black one. A kinyumba, the dead man's skull taken from the cemetery, you can go back to part 1 and we talked about that, is nested in its jaw. In the case of Pepe, who could not find the dog's head, a skull was stuck on a bamboo stick, which was fixed in the wax covering the bottom, so that it could occupy the exact center of the cauldron and act as a scaffolding to some extent. Pepe then scratched a hole with his machete at the top of the skull. He removed the brain with his fingers and scattered the pieces into the cauldron. So I guess this guy, he cut open the skull and took the brain matter out. I'm presuming that it's all dried because this was taken from a grave. And then the contents of the brain and stuff were scattered into the pot. Scattered the pieces into the cauldron. In the place of the brain, he inserted a bamboo stick filled with sand, liquid mercury, seawater, water from a river, water from a well, water from a cemetery, alum, I don't know what alum is, cloves, and pepper, and sealed it up with wax. George, for his part, used a slightly different method. He placed the bamboo stick next to the skull and replaced the brain of the deceased with the candle. The Polero who are in possession of the other skeleton parts, such as fingers, tibulas, the skull, kneecaps, usually place them around the Kiyumba. According to an informant from Cabrera, after putting the dead person's bones and some soil from his grave into the nganga, the Polero makes an incision in his arm with a knife or dagger with a white handle and lets some drops of blood flow into the cauldron. But it is, now listen to this, but it is also common for Poleros to shed their blood at the end of the assembly process when nganga is completed. The owner's blood acts as a transfusion. It gives life to the new envelope of the spirit and animates it. For the Poleros, human blood contains a vital force capable of recomposing dead matter, recomposing dead matter, and reviving the dead. Unlike animal blood, which is used regularly at ceremony. Now this is interesting. For Christians and stuff, they believe that Christ shed his blood so the people can live, right? Now, it's saying here the human blood contains a vital force capable of recomposing dead matter and reviving the dead. You know, they say you're a new person. Unlike animal blood, which is used regularly in ceremonies and during work of magic in order to feed the nganga, human blood is poured only once during the object's birth. As highlighted by a practitioner from Cienfuegos, Mafumbes live from blood. However, a Polero never feeds the Mafumbe with human blood because this blood is mai caliente, very hot. That is to say, energetic, and triggers frantic thirst. If the Mafungi were to develop a taste for human blood, he would not stop asking for it. It could end up bleeding his Polero dry and killing him. To guard against this danger, after giving their blood, initiates immediately rush to mask its smell by covering it with blood of a rooster. It is often said that the evil Poleros accustom their dead to human blood in order to acquire great power. It is also said that these people are forced to sacrifice small children in order to quench the thirst of the vampire Mafumbis. These rumors probably started circulating with the publicity surrounding the murders of little Zola in 1904 and Cecilia in 1919, in which witches were accused. Or in contemporary language, Poleros, for the majority of Cubans, Poleros are considered to be dangerous and unscrupulous witches. Now, I've also heard this too in Africa, I believe it's the Congo or Nigeria, that wealthy Europeans will come there to gain riches or to make their businesses, corporations prosper. And in order to do it, they would find one of these people, either a Bokor. A Bokor is a person that does magic, like, for money. Or these Poleros that will do, because they can do both now. And for these things to be strong, they would take the blood of children. And there was like a big thing going on, and I forgot what country in Africa it was, but so there's good and bad everywhere you go. At the intermediate level of the nganga, Poleros are also placed the stone, representing the cauldron's protective deity or Mapungo. In Pepe's case, this was Sarabanda's Matari, not Tatari, Matari. This singular stone, which can sometimes be sought for years because it has to display a sign that reveals the presence of the entity. Can also be placed alongside the nganga. At this level, the following are also inserted: animals' remains, living insects, and sometimes excrement, as well as 21 stones from many different places and different kinds of metals: gold, silver, copper, mercury, magnetic. Some, like Marellus, add vegetables reduced to powder. This is something that's always common too, with taking herbs and stuff and mixing them and grinding them to powder for their uses. In general, earth taken from 21 different places, such as hospitals, prisons, cemeteries, anthills, or crossroads, are also inserted, as well as 21 liquids called waters or aguas, which as river water, sea water taken from cemetery, water of turpentine, and holy water if the nganga is destined to perform essentially beneficial works. Marellus also inserted horse urine and the urine, sweat, and tears of a young child. According to Cabrera, handfuls of white ants are added and are surrounded by red chili pepper, garlic, ginger, white onion, cinnamon, a bouquet of ruta, jalapeno, what the hell? Jalapenos, pinon. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. Y'all see it on the screen. These 21 sticks or palos are placed vertically in the cauldron, covering the receptacle walls and emerging 20 to 50 centimeters from it. The Sarabanda nganga, according to Linda Cabrera, the following are added: Lamo branches, vencedor. I'm not going to read all these branches and stuff, but it's 21 branches. So let me skip down here. They're all from different types of trees and stuff, and I guess they all have different properties. Yeah, they have different meanings and stuff. Meaning scratch the tongue. One is called change the voice. Another one is stick that breaks the bone. Some are unidentified. Most sacred tree. And so on. Literally, I can... Okay. While tree branches are not exclusive to the Central Florida nganga, they are, like its other components, spirit embodying par excellence, because they enclose the properties and the power of the trees from which they are cut. They can be physical. They can be physical properties. For instance, their solidity. Indeed, most paleros are made of hardwoods, but also magical and symbolic properties, as in case for the... Oh, okay, let me straighten myself out here. I'm trying to do other things while reading. All right. A parasite, in case of the jagle or whatever that word is, fiscus membrane, whatever. Sorry, you guys can see that on the screen. A parasite that pleros appreciate greatly for its ability to devour almost all other plants around it. The part played by palos in ritual activity is the fundamental for practitioners, as evidenced by the very name of the religion. Palo Mayombe literally means branch of the forest. Tree sticks are considered spirits' favorite habitats. And these forces they enclose are the basis of Plero's magic. Pharmacopoeia. For each operation, a magic potion for each purification ritual. To fortify the nganga and to heal the sick, Pleros use palos without exception. In most cases, after turning them into powder, The fact that they are virtually salient, they are one of the first things one notices when contemplating a nganga. Can be understood as a display of identity, an Afro-Cuban religious field. Poleros are recognized as specialists of tree branches and plants. Moreover, the term polero can be translated as one who handles tree branches. Which more I got to go? Might be part 3 of this motherfucker. Okay. Great, now I lose my spot. Okay. To conceal this intermediate level of the nganga, except the palos cross it with 3 compartments. Poleros cover it with a blackish mixture of earth and liquids. The countless ingredients of this level, overflowing with materiality, are packed tightly, one next to the other. The large pieces are put in place first, and then every gap is filled with earth and liquids. This compact nature suggests that the nganga is a concentration of forces, but also that it's a single unit despite its heterogeneous components. The making process of this unit of the artifact appears to be based on a systematic logic or logic of borrowing. As one of my informants stressed, all the natural forces that we put into an nganga, we give them to the mafumbi to strengthen it even more. The various components are therefore inserted into the cauldron to work with the mafumbi and offer it their power. For example, the dog's head will give the mafumbi the animal's olfactory skills and the strength and the speed of its attack. So you see, you're using a dog's head. The dog, you wouldn't get like any dog. You would get a dog that's will fit the traits or the properties that or what you're trying to get across. So you would get like, say, if you want a dog that's fierce or whatever, say like you get a pit bull's head, right? A pit bull, he attacks, he doesn't let go. Know what I mean? So you would use those properties of that dog to put into the pot. The dog for the nganga must therefore be chosen carefully. If the polero makes the wrong choice, his mafumbi will be weakened. A little poodle, see, just like I said, a little poodle or sweet cocker would hardly be satisfactory solution for those wanting a powerful and ferocious nganga. According to the same logic, the stones and the powerful type of earth or liquids also endow the cauldron with the power of the places they come from and the ability to handle the forces that reside there. For example, by inserting earth taken from a psychiatric hospital into the nganga, the polero gives the mafumbi the ability to manipulate madness, to transmit it to one person or remove it from another. The logic of borrowing and the accumulation underpinning the manufacturing process for the central component and probably the artifact as a whole can be mobilized in constructing its parts. For example, it applies to the bamboo stick placed in the skull of the deceased. According to one polero, earth from the cemetery is inserted into the artifacts because cemeteries are the place of predilection of the dead. And because this ensures the cauldron has their sympathy. Water from the river and water from the well are poured inside the cauldron for their occult powers due to the darkness and death that characterizes them. Seawater, sand, and mercury, which are spiritual passports of sorts, enable the mafumbi to move and act beyond the Cuban borders. Another of my informants, joking on the subject, said that this is why the mafumbi can cross the sea and become international. The same polero added that seawater will keep the mafumbis restless as the waves of the sea. And Mercury will always keep it hot. That is to say, on constant alert, always awake. Filling up this place, filling up this piece of bamboo transforms it into a concentrate, condensate of powers, thus endowing it with the certain anatomy, just like the nganga. One could almost detach it and make it into a magical tool in itself. Moreover, other elements. Excuse me. Let's see something here. How much more I got to go here? 2, 3, 4. Okay. Moreover, other elements. Moreover, other elements of the object, such as mapakas described below, can perfectly replace the artifact. If the Polero has to operate far from the sanctuary, the recursive nature of the principle of the container constantly creates new centers of power, other Nagangas, as it were. While the technology behind making Nganga is designed to optimize its operational efficiency, the elements inserted are not merely sought for their effective powers. Along with strength, the Polero also seeks singularity, as noted by Bazin for the Bole objects in Mali. To understand what a God object is, you have to assume that all beings can be placed on a hierarchical scale, according to the degree of individuation. In this respect, a rock that points to the horizon is superior to a stone on the beach. A solitary lion is worth more than a partridge. Just like a sovereign is different from each of his subjects due to his radically unique nature. According to such a continuum extending from the particular to the singular, from the common to the original, from the general to the specific, the divine occupies one of the extremes. Sometimes that is more singular than all others. That is more personal than persons would be divine. The search for a singular is particularly evident when it comes to the Mufumbi, which has a name and a story, but it can be extended to all the ingredients of the culture. The original form. Tired here. Drink of water. All this damn reading. Shit. I feel like that dude, what was his name? What was that guy's name? The dude from Roots, he was in Reading Rainbow. I feel like I should be out there reading Rainbow. Oh, man. Okay. Alright. The search for a singular is particularly evident when it comes to the Mufumbi, which has a name and a story. But it can be extended to all the ingredients of the culture. The original form of a stone or of a branch will make it more desirable to the plural. Elier, for example, who needs a dog's head to complete his Nganga, has spotted one whose eyes are so terrifying and disturbing that it seems to emanate power. So he waited patiently for the death of the animal, or perhaps even caused his death, in order to get it. The individuation of the materials of the cauldron are also achieved by the different processes through which they are collected. I can see here, like, they made the assumption that this dude waited for the dog to die, or he actually might have killed the dog. You got to take in mind too that these are other countries that have different cultures have different cultures. So a lot of countries, they really don't think anything of certain animals and stuff like that. So you just have to take that into account. The Paleros believe that animals, plants, and stones have an interior nature similar to that of humans, that they understand their language and motivations. They share their feelings. Paleros will therefore start a dialogue with them before pulling them from their natural environment. They will talk to them and explain their motivations. This dialogue actually corresponds to the process of individuation after creating a personal relationship with the being, even in the most rudimentary form, through the exchange of a few words and after focusing attention on it. This being then takes shape in the imagination. Some of the Nganga's components are also singular because they were chosen by the Mufumbi. Before adding an element, the Polero asked the Mufumbi whether it is appropriate using this chamalangos, the divination device. It is clear that an item chosen by this being is already invested with meaning. Moreover, often the series of negative responses from the spirit will lead the Polero to suggest a new element for the Nganga, thus further increasing the uniqueness. The place from which the element comes can also endow the God object with an exceptional character. The harder the place of collection is to access, or the more dangerous, or the more or full of history it is, the more significant it is. When it comes to collecting some earth or a stone, a place renowned for its role in the Cuban Revolution is therefore better than an anonymous courtyard. An example of this situation was presented to me unexpectedly when I accompanied a group of Cuban musicians on a tour in Greece. Among them, there were some Poleros. In the middle of our visit in Acropolis of Athens, I caught them collecting rocks near the Pantheon, which is, of course, strictly forbidden, for the sole purpose of adding them to the cauldron. In Palo Mayombe tradition, there is clearly no reference to this historical place, and therefore no ritual formula that concerns it in particular. However, despite the few practical application that inserting such a stone could have religious practice, its collection was justified by the fact that it would increase both the singularity and the power of the Nganga. Finally, the circumstances in which certain elements are discovered may also contribute to enriching the Nganga's biography. The Pleros are thus inexhaustible when it comes to recounting the adventures that led them to find a particular item. And this is especially true regarding the Matari, the stone that closes the soul of the Makungo. That is, they can search for over many years. When the Polero communicates the singular events that took place during the discovery of materials, he strengthens the reputation of the objects enclosing them. The Nganga is not just an artifact made through technical work. It is also a result of a personal history of the journey the Polero took to create it. I believe I'm going to start right there and make a part 3 because I got a meeting coming up. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. What the hell is going on in my head here? All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to have some more videos up today. And let's see here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join the battle. We're going to defeat together. We're going to defeat these cult leaders, these false prophets out here that teaching our people lies and withholding information from themselves while they're throwing us the crumbs. Judah Nazareth, you done messed up. You really messed up this time. This one you thought it was safe, Judah Nazareth. This one you thought it was safe. With that, y'all, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Get head up on out of here. Song here. Got the galloping horses. Okay, maybe not. Okay, why are all my stuff going crazy here? Songs. Okay. What the hell's going on here? Oh well. Oh well. Catch y'all back a little later. I might come back in a little while and finish it up. So, with that, thanks a lot, everybody. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. It's Killah B, the goddamn Witchfinder General. You got a witch. You goddamn sure I'm going to burn their asses up. Peace.